Hi, I'm very excited today to talk about how sound and form are united through number. Now, we know in the ancient Christian scriptures that in the beginning was the Word. So, this first primordial vibration created the manifest universe. We also know that somewhat through cymatics, where you can take a thin metal plate, you can attach it to a motor that vibrates, you can hook that up to a frequency generator, sprinkle a little bit of salt on there, dial up the frequencies, and at different frequencies, you will see that there are geometric shapes in 2 dimensions that begin to take shape, or they snap to shape at different frequencies. So we know that sound and form are united. But how do we quantify this? Like, how do we bring together some kind of equations that solidify this connection, this understanding? So on one side, we can look at sound frequencies like the solfeggio frequencies, and on the other side, we can look at form as represented by the Fibonacci series. Okay. Now, it's difficult to make a connection with two simplistic single band frequencies. So just this single solfeggio frequency and then this single band of Fibonacci series. But what we can do is we can expand both. So we can expand these solfeggio frequencies into something known as the Solfeggio Matrix, which was revealed by G.W. Hardin many years ago. And very few people know about that, but there's a lot of magic in the Solfeggio Matrix. And I'll put a link to his website in the description or the comments. Now, we also have the Fibonacci series. Now, the Fibonacci series is actually only one of nine series. Now, Fibonacci by itself models growth. So it models growth, but when you graph it out, or when you map it out, it models spirals. So we can expand this Fibonacci series into 9 series. So what I want to do now is show you how this all works out. And I can't just speak to it, because there are a lot of numbers involved and there's some tables involved. And I want to show you exactly how these two series of numbers, the solfeggio frequencies and these 9 Phi series, which includes Fibonacci, are perfectly matched, how they perfectly relate together. And then afterwards, I'll hop back up on here and we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, let's speak about the Fibonacci series. Now, the Fibonacci series was originally designed to model the growth of rabbits. So here you can see you start out with one rabbit, with another rabbit, and it keeps multiplying. And when you map this out, you'll get a nice spiral. So the Fibonacci series initially started with the number 1. And each number is the sum of the 2 previous numbers. So in the case of the Fibonacci, the first 2 numbers were known as seeds. And so in the third number, the 2 is the sum of the previous. So 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, and so on. Now, the number theorists, they didn't quite like that so much. They preferred starting with 0 because it really fit nicely into their equations. So they started with the actual number 0, and that works out well for them. For me, it doesn't work out that well, and I will show you why that 0, starting with a 0 is actually incorrect, and starting with a 1 is the more precise way, more natural way to begin the series. Now, there is a second series of numbers that came later, known as the Lucas series. And in this case, the Lucas series started with the number 2. And so it went 2, 1, 3, 4. And so again, each number is the sum of the 2 previous. So the 3 is the sum of the 2 plus 1. The 4 is the sum of the 1 plus 3. So very similar to the Fibonacci series. The Lucas and the Fibonacci both model spirals. But I want to draw your attention to that second position number, which is 1 in both cases. And that's really the starting point. So that's the starting point is really that second position. And what comes prior to that is, in fact, what I call the seed. It is this basically what happens in gestation, and that 1 is really the beginning of the manifested form. Now let's look at all of the series, so all 9 Phi series. So the first one is the Fibonacci, and the second one is the Lucas, and the third all the way to the 9th don't actually have names, but we can just call them Phi series 3, 4, 5, and so on. And again, each series has a seed, and the seed is in the first column, 1 all the way to 9, and the first position in all cases is the 1. And so we basically have a seed, and we have a starting position, and then at the third position, that's actually where it begins with the sum of the two previous numbers. So here we have 9 Phi series. And there are, in fact, only 9 of them. Even though we can start with seeds of different sizes, there are, in fact, only 9 of them, because they repeat, not in the calculated value, but in the reduced value. Now I want to get into something that is maybe a little less common, or maybe a little bit off the beaten track, which is something known as the law of gender, which is an ancient Hermetic principle, organizing principle of the universe. What I've come to understand is that the law of gender, it is infused in all things, and it is infused in numbers. And for me, the numbers, or the digits, I should say, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, the even ones, including the 0, are feminine in nature because I see them at rest. They are balanced. Whereas the masculine numbers are the odd ones. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. These are the 5 digits of the masculine. And they are in motion. They're in motion because they're unbalanced. They're seeking to balance themselves by summing and then coming at rest. Now I will get back to just in a few slides as to where this fits into all of this, where the feminine and masculine numbers fit into the unification of sound and form. All right, here we have the first Phi series, known as the Fibonacci, and I have mapped out 24 numbers, so 24 position values. And I've also mapped out the reduced number for each of them. So reduction means reducing it to a single digit. For example, if we take the number 13 in the 7th column, you will see that 1 plus 3 equals 4. And then the 21 after that, 2 plus 1 is 3, 34, 3 plus 4 is 7. What I've come to understand along my number journey is this concept of cycles. So not only is 12 a cycle, but 24 is a cycle. So 24 is a complete cycle, which in fact encompasses 2, a masculine cycle and the feminine cycle. So here, the reduced number in the masculine series starts out with 1, 1, 2, 3. And in the equivalent feminine cycle, which starts at positions 13 all the way to 24, the reduced numbers start at 8, 8, 7, 6. So that 8 is an even number, whereas in the masculine, the 1 is an odd number. And in this case, well, at least in my understanding of cycles, the masculine comes first. So it is this firstborn. And then the feminine will come after that. Now, the reason why I listed only 24 is because if you keep reducing, if you go to the 25th and 26th position values, they will basically just repeat. The reduced numbers will repeat back to position 1 and 2 and 3. So there are actually only 24 unique reduced numbers that comprise a pattern. And if we look at the numbers below, we can combine the masculine and feminine. So if you take the reduced numbers and you sum them, they will always sum to 9. And in the case of the 12th and 24th numbers, they sum to 18, which reduces to actually 9. So now that I've spoken a little bit about the masculine and feminine cycles, let's look at the full set of reduced numbers for the entire Phi series. So for all 9 Phi series, from seeds 1 all the way to 9, and 12 positions. So the 12 positions again just comprises that full masculine cycle, which is the beginning one. We can also do this for the feminine series. In the feminine series, each reduced number will be the mirror opposite of the masculine with respect to summing to actually 9. So again, here we have 12 positions, 9 Phi series, and this is the feminine set of 12 positions out of the 24. So let's turn our attention to sound. And in this case, let's speak about these solfeggio frequencies. Now, originally, there were 6 frequencies that were identified. And they've been associated with what we call the solfeggio frequencies. Later on, 3 more were added simply to fill in the gaps of based on a particular pattern. So that leaves us with 9 solfeggio frequencies. These are very well known in the spiritual community. You may have crystal bowls that are assigned to these, and people have assigned these frequencies to certain chakra healing. We also have something known as the 432 universal harmonic frequency. And it is said that was the initial tuning of instruments. Let's turn our attention now from the solfeggio frequencies to the Solfeggio Matrix, which was revealed by G.W. Hardin at least 15 years ago. And I'll put a link to his website so you can dive a little bit deeper into some of the complexities of this matrix. I really just want to focus in on the numbers. But here we have a 9 by 9 matrix. And you can see here on the far left, we have these groupings called domains, which I won't get into too much. And we also have a trinity within each of these domains. So body, mind, and spirit. So frequencies attached to body, mind, and spirit. We also have these original solfeggio frequencies, which we can see in column 6 or seed 6. And then we have the 432 frequency over in the 8th column. What you'll see is some pairings between these columns. So, for example, the first column at 123 at the top is paired with column 8. So column 1 and 8 are paired, 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. And that's because they sum to 9. So this is the full solfeggio matrix. And I've really taken a deep dive into these frequencies, and many of them seem to come up a lot in my number analysis. So let us now just focus in on just the frequencies by themselves. So just these, in this case, 72. We have the 9th column frequencies, which are what we call angel numbers, the 111, 222, all the way up to 999. And those are all divisible by 37. So 111 is 3 times 37, 222 is 6 times 37, and so on. So I just want to focus in on these 72 frequencies. And for this particular demonstration of showing how sound and form are united, I just want to focus on a few of the frequencies just to make it easier to understand. So in this case, we can look at the 3rd column, the 3rd seed, and we can look at the frequencies 147, 471, and 714. And I'll show you how those relate, how each of these digits relate back to the Phi series. So here we have on the left just these 3 frequencies highlighted, the 147, 471, and 714. And then on the right-hand side, we have the Phi series, which is the reduced digits of the masculine series only. So these are the first 12 position values reduced values for all 9 Phi series. And what you can see is the digits, the 1, 4, 7, are represented in the 10th column for rows 1, 2, and 3. So for Phi series 1, 2, and 3 at the 10th position value equate to the 147 frequency in the third seed of the Solfeggio matrix. And the 471 equates to, again at that the position column 10 for Phi series 2, 3, and 4. And the 714 equate to the series at positions, or I guess at the Phi series seeds 3, 4, and 5 at the position 10 value. So what you can see here is that the Solfeggio matrix, each frequency is a 3-digit number. So it's sort of I guess it's a chord of music. And this chord is comprised of 3 notes. And each note is represented in the Phi series as a single digit across 3 series. Now let's turn our attention to the feminine side of the Solfeggio matrix and the Phi series. So here again we have 3 frequencies in the 6th column, or the 6th seed column, I guess, of the Solfeggio matrix, and 6 being an even number, so I consider that feminine. So we can map the digits 174, 417, and 741 over to the feminine half of the Phi series, which are the sequence positions 13 all the way to 24. And here, though, I've just listed out 1 to 12 as the column headers. So the 174 maps over to Phi series 1, 2, and 3 at the 6th position value. The 471 maps over to the 3, 4, and 5, and the 741 maps over to the 2nd, 3rd, and the 4th Phi series at the 6th column. So basically, this is the same. You have 3 digits, you have a chord comprising 3 notes, and you can map perfectly from the Solfeggio matrix over to the Phi series. One thing I noticed, though, in the Solfeggio matrix is that I can map all the numbers. So all the numbers in the Solfeggio matrix can be mapped over to either the feminine half of the Phi series or the masculine half of the Phi series, or sometimes a particular 3-digit frequency here will map over to both. But there are 6 numbers that don't map to any, and that is the 3, 6, and 9 combinations. So 369, 693, 936, 396, 639, and 963 in the 3rd and 6th seed columns don't map over to the Phi series. And the Phi series is meant to represent form. So somehow these 6 frequencies are outside of form. And this actually maps over perfectly well to vortex math. And if you, in vortex math, there's a particular diagram that shows the digits 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8. And those digits are within a particular loop. And the digits 3, 6, and 9 are outside of that. So here there's a similarity between the two, showing that somehow the 3, 6, and 9 digits are outside of this manifested universe. So there you have it. You have sound and form from the Solfeggio matrix to the Phi series. You can see that you can see that this triad or trinity of notes, of frequencies in the Solfeggio matrix map perfectly to 3 series in the Phi series, or 3 notes within the Phi series. So you have this perfect match of sound and form. So far I've just described this relationship within the Solfeggio matrix and the relationship within the Phi series, but there is a lot more to unpack, I'm quite sure, and I'm waiting for that information to be revealed to me along my journey, and as soon as I do, I will let you know.